Legends spoke of an age before the stars were set in the heavens, when the world was nothing but a boundless ocean and a solitary isle ruled by a sapphire-haired goddess. But in the modern city of Sarna, far removed from myth and magic, a different story unfolded. Each night, in grand districts where chandeliers gleamed and champagne flowed, the elite thrived. Yet beneath that glittering facade lay Camorra, a slum where humanity's decay fermented in the dark. In one of its damp alleys, a young shoe cleaner named Abel was cornered. "Stop pretending to be mute. We know who you are." The gang's leader grabbed her by the collar, lifting her effortlessly off the ground. Abel struggled, her eyes wide in fear. The men sneered. They knew the truth. Abel was not mute and not a boy. She was a woman in disguise. Their laughter turned cruel. "Ugly face, pretty body, what a waste," one said, reaching for her. Panic surged through her veins. Abel, or rather Adele, slashed with a broken bottle, nicking flesh and drawing blood. Her golden eyes flared as she threatened them to stay back. But resistance was useless. Another man lunged, slamming her against the wall. "We fed you out of pity, orphan, and this is your gratitude?" he roared, tightening his grip around her throat. The glass shard fell from her trembling hand. "1 week," the man hissed. "1 week to pay the fee. Fail, and you will be sold, not your shoes." 2 days later, in Selina Square, Adele knelt on the cold pavement polishing boots under the glaring sun. Her deadline loomed. If she could not pay, she would rather die than return to Camorra's brothel. The man whose boots she cleaned sighed heavily behind a newspaper. "I would rather die than marry that woman, Lucretia," he muttered. The name made Adele pause. She glanced up. Caesar Bonaparte, Sarna's most desired nobleman, a living legend in gossip columns and scandalous novels alike. He tossed the paper aside in disgust. The headline announced his impending marriage to Lucretia della Valle, a union born of ancient family vows. "I will be damned before I wed her," he said, lighting a cigar. His companion Jude leaned closer. Caesar whispered his plan to find a substitute bride who could deceive the Della Valles, someone he could control. To any passerby, it was idle talk. To Adele, it was a chance sent by the gods. "Sell me," she said suddenly. "I will become the most coveted lady in Sarna." Both men turned stunned. Caesar scoffed. "You? You clean shoes. My name is Adele Vives, and you need a proxy." She had studied their conversation and even glimpsed the marriage contract's fine print. The Della Valles announced a Bonaparte marriage, but they never named which heir. If you buy a woman and present her as the bride, your family's debt is fulfilled, and you remain free. Jude blinked, impressed by her insight. Caesar crossed his arms. "And you think a shoe cleaner could survive in a scholar's house? What if I know more than they do? I speak Algerian fluently." That caught Caesar off guard. The slum girl's confidence stirred something in him, perhaps curiosity or fate. But he sneered again. "Knowledge means nothing without beauty. You are eliminated before the preliminaries." As he stood to leave, Adele reached up and pulled loose her simple hairpins. Her hair cascaded down in waves of deep green like sea glass under sunlight, framing golden eyes that glimmered with defiance. "Am I still eliminated now?" Jude gasped. The resemblance to old Bonaparte portraits was uncanny. Caesar's interest deepened. "Orphaned, you say? Why risk your life for this?" Adele met his gaze. "Because I am hungry." A strange smile tugged at Caesar's lips. "I am Caesar, the one who will send you to your death." Adele placed her hand on her chest and replied,
quoting Duran, "In the place where we both desire, we shall meet again." Her poise disarmed him. Amused, Caesar finally relented. Be at the Bonaparte estate by sunset. That night, the rain came in torrents. Adele packed her few belongings, trembling with disbelief. She had done it. She was leaving Kimura. Knocking echoed from the door. It grew louder, becoming violent, pounding. "You think you can run?" the same man snarled, bursting in. His fist caught her arm. She fought, broke free, and stumbled toward the window. Outside, the storm raged. Death seemed kinder than going back. She jumped. Her body hit the mud hard, pain searing through her, but she stood and ran through the streets and the rain towards her one fragile hope. Hours later, drenched and shivering, Adele arrived at the gates of Bonaparte Mansion. The butler, Ernest, led her through marble halls to Caesar's study, where the nobleman sat beneath the flicker of candlelight. "You look like a drowned dog, sister," Caesar said dryly, his eyes sharp with amusement. "Explain yourself." Between shivers, she told him about the gang and the old man, Nino, who had demanded payment. Caesar interrupted her. "That old man is dead." Adele froze. "What?" He said, "The storm caused a landslide in Kimura. Nino and his men are gone." The words sank in slowly. Everything that had chained her to that filthy alley was gone.
Caesar dismissed the news of the landslide and mass death in Kimura with chilling detachment. "A person died? A common occurrence," he declared, lighting a cigar with a calculated gesture. His eyes studied Adele's still shaken expression. "Was anyone else bothering you?" he asked. Adele clasped her hands tightly and shook her head. He stepped closer and lifted her chin with one elegant finger. "I suspect you had another reason for seeking me out," he murmured. "Perhaps you are actually interested in me." He saw himself as her savior, certain that a desperate girl from the slums would cling to him naturally. Leaning close, he let the smoke drift across her face. "A warning, little sister. I do not tolerate women sneaking into my room at night." Adele blinked. "Thank you for the warning," she said seriously, "but I am not interested at all." To her, Caesar was nothing more than a strange and unpredictable man. Her blunt response made him laugh. "Your expressions are entertaining," he admitted. Stepping back, he added, "I only mention it because it has happened before. Keep that in mind." "Yes, master," she replied. Caesar turned sharply. "Not master, older brother." Adele nodded and repeated the title. "Older brother." The word felt unfamiliar on her tongue. Caesar smiled in satisfaction. "From this moment, you are Adelaide Bonaparte. You are 5 years my junior and once lived in Koo, across the sea. You were believed to be a commoner until fate guided you home." Adele realized he was creating her entire history from nothing. "Does the president know about this plan?" she asked, referring to Eva Bonaparte, their grandmother, and the president of Signoria. He hesitated. "Eva wants great-grandchildren, but beyond that, she welcomes Lucretia with open arms." He sounded displeased that his grandmother supported the marriage. Crossing his legs, Caesar looked back at her. "You may ask about other matters that concern you." Adele spoke carefully. "Your parents? Where are they now?" "If you are to be my sister, you must know that." Caesar studied her face. Adele had heard the story. "They left when you were 7, she replied softly. Caesar's parents, deeply in love, had abandoned the family and their youngest son. He gave a small nod. "Good. We will say they had you later because they were so in love. That will suffice." He opened the door and gestured toward the hall. A maid is waiting. Follow her. I expect to see progress soon." Outside, Adele met Iponi Kaur, a brown-haired maid who greeted her with gentle formality and guided her to her room. Though described as simple, the chamber looked more magnificent than any place Adele had ever seen. "We begin etiquette lessons tomorrow, but first, you must not catch a cold." She offered her hand. "Come, I will help you bathe." Adele clutched her old clothes. "It's all right. I can do it myself." "Nonsense," Iponi said firmly. "Nobility does not bathe alone. It is improper." Yielding, Adele allowed her to assist. When the wet garments fell to the floor, Iponi's eyes widened at the sight of the bruises and scars marking Adele's skin. "They heal quickly," Adele said in panic. "I have been beaten many times, but they never scar. Will you report this to Caesar? Will he cancel the contract once he sees how ugly my body is?" Iponi silent remained for a moment, then sighed. "The contract remains valid until your marriage to Adela Veli. As long as neither Caesar nor that family learns of this before then, you are safe. What matters now is recovery. You are far too thin." She sprinkled rose petals into the steaming water. "You are now a Bonaparte. Remember that." Later that night in his study, Caesar received Iponi's report. "How is my lovely little sister?" he asked. "She is not healthy, Master Caesar. There are marks of violence all over her body." "A pearl with scratches loses its shine," he said coolly. Iponi frowned. "With rest and proper care, she will recover quickly. She will become a beautiful woman." Caesar thought for a moment, recalling her sharp, golden eyes. "She is already beautiful. It is unfortunate that she is my sister." Iponi scolded him, but he only smiled. "Don't worry. I have no intention of harming Adelaide. I plan to kill her once the deal is done anyway." That same night, Adele woke before dawn, a habit from Kimura. She stood by the window watching fishing boats return under the fading moonlight. The comfort of her surroundings felt unreal. She wondered if she could truly endure what awaited her. Unable to sleep, she took a book from the bedside and read until Iponi entered with the first light. "You seem uneasy. You will be busy from now on." They began with breakfast. As Iponi pulled out her chair, Adele said she would eat anything, even spoiled food. "A good trait, but table manners are essential," she replied. She taught her posture, the angle of her chin, the placement of her hands, and how to use each utensil in the correct order. Adele followed carefully. When she tasted her first bite, her eyes widened in astonishment. The flavors of beef carpaccio, linguine, and monkfish wrapped in potatoes blended perfectly. She nearly forgot herself in delight. "I hope I did not eat too much," Adele said shyly. "It is good to see you enjoy the meal. You will have 4 a day. A lady must be strong and healthy." The morning continued with a tour of the mansion, the library, gallery, and dining rooms. At the end of the first floor, near Caesar's office, Iponi instructed, "Always knock before entering. It is the rule of the house." As the day faded, Iponi shared one last detail. 6 people know about the plan. Soon, there will be 7. Madame Flavia will arrive in a few days to teach you etiquette. Flavia, she explained, was strict but unmatched in skill. Adele must follow her every command. "How should I greet Madame Flavia?" Adele asked, eager to learn. Iponi smiled faintly and lifted her skirt slightly, showing her how to hold the fabric correctly. "We will begin with your curtsy. Keep your back straight, your gaze forward, and bow only once. That is the greeting of a lady."